Imagine a world where the only way to get promoted is to literally kill your coworkers, where CEOs are immortal gods who've murdered thousands, where every employee is a soldier in corporate wars. That's the world where Marcus Chen lived. His sister took a corporate job to pay for his dreams, and they murdered her with experimental drugs, made it look like suicide. So Marcus did the unthinkable. He started at the bottom, level 2, basically janitor status, and decided to kill his way to the top, every single level. In 7 days, he went from nobody to nightmare, and what he discovered about his CEO would change everything. This is that story. Part 1. The Inheritance. Chapter 1. The Summons. The notification arrived at 3:47 a.m., glowing cold blue against Marcus Chen's cracked phone screen. Corporate Directive 7745B, mandatory appearance, next of kin clause activated. Marcus read it 3 times before the words sank in. Maya was dead. He sat up in his cramped apartment, the walls still bearing the water stains from last month's pipe burst. Through the thin walls, he could hear his neighbor's corporate-mandated morning meditation app. Breathe in success, breathe out weakness. You are a valuable asset. You are expendable. These truths coexist. His hands trembled as he scrolled through the details. Employee Maya Chen, junior analyst level 3, Apex Industries, had been found in her corporate housing unit. Cause of termination, self-initiated retirement. The corporate euphemism for suicide made him want to throw the phone against the wall. The next paragraph made his blood run cold. Per Section 15.3 of the Employment Continuation Act, immediate family members are required to fulfill the remainder of the deceased's contract. Report to Apex Tower within 24 hours for orientation and assignment. Marcus stumbled to his feet, his boxer's instincts making him unconsciously raise his guard against an enemy he couldn't punch. Maya had taken that job for him. She'd seen his talent in the ring, believed he could make it to the professional circuits if he just had time to train without worrying about food or rent. Just 2 years, she'd said, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. 2 years at Apex, and I'll have saved enough for both of us. You focus on boxing. When you make it big, you can pay me back. That was 11 months ago. Now she was gone, and the contract she'd signed in blood, literally as all corporate contracts required, had passed to him. Chapter 2. The Tower. Apex Tower pierced the smoggy morning sky like a black glass needle, its top floors lost in the perpetual cloud cover that hung over New Angeles. Marcus stood at its base, craning his neck to see the top, where CEO Nathaniel Cross ruled his corporate empire. The lobby was a monument to controlled violence. The walls displayed the mounted heads of defeated rival executives, preserved behind temperature-controlled glass. A holographic display cycled through Apex's quarterly termination leaders, employees who had killed the most competitors in the last fiscal period. Their faces were young, scarred, and dead-eyed. Marcus Chen? A woman's voice, sharp as broken glass. He turned to see her, Director Sarah Voss, according to her biotag floating in his AR display. Level 7, middle management. Her suit was armor-weaved Kevlar, stylish and functional. The scar running from her left ear to her collar spoke of battles won. You're Maya's brother. It wasn't a question. I processed her termination paperwork myself. Unfortunate loss. She showed promise in the quarterly skirmishes. She killed herself, Marcus said flatly. Voss's smile was corporate perfect. Self-initiated retirement is a choice some employees make when they realize they've reached their maximum potential. Your sister simply recognized her limitations. Marcus's fist clenched, but Voss had already turned away. Follow me. Orientation begins in 10 minutes. You'll be taking over Maya's position, her desk, her quarterly targets. Her debt to the company is now yours. As they walked through the maze of cubicles, Marcus noticed how every employee moved with practiced efficiency, eyes constantly scanning for threats. Desk workers typed with one hand while the other rested on weapons. A meeting was in progress behind reinforced glass. Inside, two junior analysts circled each other with ceramic knives while their team members placed bets on their tablets. The annual corporate war begins in 3 weeks, Voss said, leading him to what had been Maya's desk. Her personal items were already gone, replaced with standard-issue equipment. A laptop, a combat knife, a basic sidearm, and a single photo frame, mandatory corporate policy to display one personal photo to maintain human connection. Marcus picked up the frame. It was empty. You'll start with basic combat training tomorrow, Voss continued. As a Level 2 junior analyst, you're authorized to engage in conflict with any Level 2 or below from rival companies. Killing a peer-level employee nets you their stock portfolio. Killing above your level. She paused, her smile sharpening. Well, that's a termination offense. We maintain strict hierarchy here at Apex. What if I refuse? Voss laughed, a sound like ice cracking. Then you're in breach of contract. The penalty for breach is comprehensive. Your assets, your organs, your consciousness all become company property. We're very efficient at resource utilization. She left him there, at his dead sister's desk, staring at the empty photo frame. Chapter 3. The Discovery. Marcus lasted 3 days before he started digging. The official report on Maya's death was sanitized, clinical. But Marcus had learned from his boxing trainer that the truth always lived in the details your opponent tried to hide. So he started with her computer, using her birthday, their birthday, twins separated by 2 minutes, as the password. Most of her files were standard analyst work, market projections, termination statistics, efficiency reports measuring the cost-benefit ratio of employee casualties. But buried in a hidden partition, he found her personal journal. The entries started optimistic. Day 1. The orientation was intense, but I can handle this. For Marcus. He doesn't know how special his talent is. 2 years here, and he'll never have to worry about money again. By month 3, the tone had changed. Day 95. Killed my first competitor today. A Level 2 from Zenith Corp. He had a family photo on his desk, a daughter. I took his stocks, 3,000 shares of various portfolios. I threw up after. Sarah Voss said it gets easier. I hope she's lying. Month 6. Day 183. Selected for Project Prometheus. They say it's an honor, a chance to become more. Enhanced reflexes, increased strength, faster healing. The future of corporate warfare, they call it. I didn't volunteer, but refusing isn't really an option, is it? The last entry was from the day before her death. Day 334. The serum is killing me. I can feel it eating through my nervous system like acid. Dr. Harrison says it's just an adjustment period, but I've seen the others in the program. We're test subjects, not soldiers. Failed experiments to be disposed of when we break. I won't let them autopsy me, study what went wrong. If I'm going to die, it'll be on my terms. Marcus, if you ever read this, the entry cut off there. Marcus sat back, his vision blurring. Not suicide, murder, corporate-sanctioned, experiment-grade murder. A soft sound made him look up. Someone was standing at the neighboring cubicle watching him. She was young, maybe mid-20s, with tired eyes and careful movements. "You're Maya's brother," she said quietly. "I'm Jen. I worked with her." "Did you know?" Marcus asked. "About the experiments?" Jen glanced around nervously, then leaned closer. Project Prometheus was supposed to create super soldiers for the corporate wars. Your sister was in the 3rd test group. None of them survived past day 350. Who authorized it? It goes all the way up. CEO Cross himself signed off on it. But the project lead was Dr. Elizabeth Harrison, Level 8 Management Medical Division. Marcus memorized the name. Where can I find her? You can't. She's Level 8. You're Level 2. Even looking at her wrong could be considered an act of aggression above your station. That's instant termination. Then I'll climb. Jen stared at him. The corporate war. You're thinking of using the war to... She stopped herself. That's insane. You'd have to kill dozens of employees just to reach Level 8. And even if you did, Harrison is a Prometheus success story. She tested the early versions on herself. She's enhanced. Then I'll need to be better. There might be another way, Jen said slowly. There are people outside the corporate structure. Freelancers who train fighters, supply weapons, information. They're illegal, of course, but... Where? Sub-level 7. After midnight. Look for the woman they call Nyx. Chapter 4. The Underground. Sub-level 7 was a different world. Below the gleaming corporate towers, in the abandoned subway tunnels and maintenance corridors, the city's underbelly thrived. Here, corporate law held less sway, though everyone knew the companies tolerated this space because it served their purposes, a place to buy what couldn't be officially sanctioned, to train in techniques too brutal for corporate gyms. Marcus descended through a maintenance hatch, following the sound of violence. The Fight Club occupied what had been a subway station. The platform served as the ring, surrounded by a crowd that mixed corporate drones seeking illegal thrills with hardened freelancers who lived outside the system. Money and stocks changed hands rapidly as two fighters circled each other in the harsh industrial lighting. One of them was a woman. She moved like liquid mercury, each motion flowing into the next with a grace that spoke of absolute body control. Her opponent, a Level 5 corporate enforcer judging by his biotag, threw a haymaker that would have decapitated a normal person. She didn't just dodge, she redirected his force, using his momentum to send him sprawling. The crowd roared. The enforcer got up, rage replacing strategy. He pulled a ceramic blade, technically illegal in unsanctioned matches. The woman smiled. In 3 moves, she had disarmed him, the blade now pressed against his throat. The enforcer yielded, and stocks transferred from his account to hers with a soft chime. Next, she called out, her voice carrying over the crowd. Marcus stepped forward. You're Nyx? She turned to him, and he caught his breath. She was striking, but it was more than beauty. It was the confidence of someone who had weaponized every aspect of themselves. Her outfit was indeed minimal, tactical gear that emphasized mobility over protection, but on her it wasn't vulnerability, it was a statement that she didn't need armor. I don't fight Level 2s, she said, already turning away. Come back when you've got something worth taking. I don't want to fight. I want to hire you. That got her attention. For what? Training. I need to get strong enough to kill a Level 8 in 3 weeks. The crowd went silent. Then Nyx laughed, rich and dark. A Level 2 wanting to kill an 8? That's not ambitious, that's suicidal. Maybe. Will you help me or not? She studied him, and he felt like she was dissecting him with her gaze, cataloging strengths and weaknesses. What's your name? Marcus Chen. Recognition flickered in her eyes. Maya's brother. I heard about her retirement. You knew her? She came here once, wanted to learn techniques they don't teach in corporate training, said she needed to get stronger, to survive something. I told her strength isn't always enough. Nyx paused. I was right, wasn't I? They killed her, an experiment, and I'm going to kill everyone responsible. Everyone? She stepped closer, close enough that he could see the scars beneath her minimal armor, each one a story of survival. That's a long list in the corporate world. Then I better get started, she smiled then, sharp and dangerous. Training starts at 4 a.m. Don't be late. And Marcus? Bring pain tolerance. You'll need it. Chapter 5. The Mentor. Training with Nix was nothing like boxing. Boxing had rules, structure, honor. This was pure survival distilled into technique. Corporate combat has one rule, Nix said, circling him in the pre-dawn darkness of her training space, an abandoned warehouse she'd converted into a killing floor. Hierarchy. You can only kill laterally or down, never up. Unless... She struck without warning, her fist stopping a millimeter from his throat. He hadn't even seen her move. Unless it's during the corporate war, different rules apply. Chaos, opportunity. A level 2 could theoretically kill a CEO if they were good enough, stupid enough. She smiled. Lucky enough. Has anyone ever done it? Once. 15 years ago, a level 1 janitor killed the CEO of Prometheus Industries. You know what happened to him? He became CEO. He became a god. Then he became a target. Every other corporation sent their best to kill him. He lasted 6 days. She reset her stance. But those 6 days changed everything. Prometheus Industries was absorbed, its assets scattered, thousands of employees freed from their contracts. It was chaos, beautiful chaos. She attacked again, this time for real. Marcus barely got his guard up, his boxing instincts kicking in. But she was already inside his defense, her knee driving toward his solar plexus. He twisted, catching her leg, trying to use his superior strength. She flowed with it, turning his strength against him, and suddenly he was on the ground, with her boot on his throat. "You're thinking like a boxer," she said. "Fair fights, rules, honor. Your sister thought the same way. It's why she's dead." Marcus grabbed her ankle, rage giving him strength, and pulled. She let herself fall, turning it into a roll that brought her knee into his temple. Stars exploded in his vision. "Better," she said, helping him up. "Use the anger, but control it." They trained for hours. She taught him the weak points in standard corporate armor, the blind spots in executive-level augmentations, the chemical cocktails that could counteract enhancement serums. Between combat sessions, she shared intelligence, which executives had, which modifications, their psychological profiles, their habits. "Dr. Harrison," she said, pulling up a hologram. "Level 8, Medical Division. Prometheus survivor. Enhanced strength, speed, regeneration. But the early serum had side effects, nerve damage. She hides it well, but her left side has a 0.3-second delay in response time." "You've fought her?" "I've studied her. Know your enemy, Marcus. That's the real first rule." As dawn broke through the warehouse's broken skylights, Nix called an end to the session. Marcus was bruised, bloodied, but learning. "Why are you helping me?" he asked, wiping blood from his split lip. "Maybe I hate the corporations as much as you do. Maybe I see a chance for some real chaos." She paused at the door. "Or maybe I just think your sister deserved better." "Did you know her well?" "Well enough to know she was trying to protect someone. She never said who, but the way she fought, desperate and determined, that's someone fighting for family." Nix turned back to him. "Don't waste what she died for." Chapter 6. The First Blood. The corporate war began at midnight with the traditional commencement ceremony. Every major corporation in New Angeles gathered in the neutral zone, a massive arena built in what used to be Central Park. Thousands of employees from Level 1 maintenance to Level 9 executives stood in formation behind their corporate banners. CEO-class leaders occupied floating platforms above the masses, untouchable gods surveying their armies. Marcus stood with the Apex Industries contingent, wearing the standard-issue combat suit Maya should have worn. Through his AR display, he could see the tags of every employee, their levels, their kill counts, their stock portfolios. A sea of potential targets and threats. Nathaniel Cross, CEO of Apex, stood on his platform, his presence seeming to bend reality around him. Marcus had researched him extensively. 30 years old, youngest CEO in corporate history, with a kill count that had stopped being public after it passed 1,000. The successful Prometheus subjects were dangerous. Cross was something beyond that. Ladies and gentlemen, Cross's voice echoed through the arena. Welcome to the 47th Annual Corporate War. For the next 7 days, the usual restrictions on corporate warfare are suspended. Any employee may engage any other, regardless of level differential. The stakes, as always, are everything. A holographic display showed the participating corporations: Apex Industries, Zenith Corp, Titan Holdings, Quantum Dynamics, and a dozen smaller firms hoping to cannibalize the losers. This year, Cross continued, we have a special incentive. The corporation with the highest net worth gain by war's end will receive exclusive rights to the Pacific Trade Corridor. Estimated value, 500 trillion in stocks. The crowd's energy shifted, became hungrier. Additionally, Cross smiled, and even from a distance, Marcus could feel the predatory nature of it. Individual employees who distinguish themselves may find opportunities for rapid advancement. The horn sounded. The war had begun. Immediately, the arena erupted into calculated violence. The smart employees retreated to defensive positions. The ambitious ones hunted. Marcus had a different plan. He'd memorized the employee roster, marking his targets. Not level 2s or 3s like himself, but specific individuals connected to Project Prometheus. His first target, Dr. James Hoffman, level 4, Medical Division. One of Harrison's assistants. Hoffman was moving with a group of Medical Division employees, heading for the Apex staging area. Marcus intercepted them in the parking structure, where the concrete pillars provided cover and the cameras had blind spots. Hoffman, Marcus called out. The group turned, weapons drawn. 5 level 4s, standard Medical Division, enhanced but not full Prometheus level. You're level 2, Hoffman said, checking Marcus's tag. Walk away, Junior. This is above your pay grade. You worked on Project Prometheus, Test Group 3. Hoffman's expression changed. So? So you killed my sister. Marcus moved. Nix's training took over, his body flowing from cover to strike. The ceramic blade she'd given him, not corporate issue, something older, meaner, found the gap in Hoffman's armor that she'd promised would be there. Hoffman dropped, surprise replacing arrogance. His stocks began transferring, 50,000 shares, a level 4's accumulated wealth. The other Medical Division employees attacked simultaneously. Marcus had expected this. He rolled behind a concrete pillar as gunfire chipped away at it, pulled the flashbang Nix had supplied, and counted to 3. The explosion disoriented them for crucial seconds. Marcus emerged, blade in one hand, corporate issue pistol in the other. 2 more down before they recovered. The remaining 2 fled, no loyalty among corporates when the odds shifted. Marcus stood over Hoffman, who was still alive, barely. Harrison, Marcus said. Where is she? Protected, Hoffman gasped. Cross knows about you, about what you're planning. How? Hoffman smiled, blood on his teeth. Your sister wasn't the only one watching. The company always watches. He died with that smile. Marcus checked his display. 3 level 4 kills in the first hour of war. His stock portfolio had exploded from 0 to 150,000 shares. More importantly, his corporate rank had automatically adjusted, level 3 now, with emergency promotion authorization to level 4 pending review. But Hoffman's words echoed. Cross knew, which meant this was a trap. His communication device buzzed, a message from an unknown sender. Impressive start, but you're playing their game. Meet me at sub-level 7 if you want to play mine. N. Chapter 7. The Alliance Nix was waiting in the Fight Club, but it had been transformed into a command center. Screens showed feeds from across the city, tracking the corporate war in real time. A dozen freelancers worked at various stations, monitoring, analyzing, planning. "Welcome to the real resistance," Nix said. "We've been planning this for years, using the corporate war to strike at the system itself." "I thought you were just a fighter." "I'm whatever I need to be." She gestured to the screens. "Your killing spree has been noticed. Cross has put a bounty on you. 500,000 shares for any Apex employee who brings him your head. Let them come." "That's the spirit, but you're thinking too small." She pulled up a holographic map of Apex Tower. "Harrison is in the medical wing, level 45. During normal operations, it would be impossible to reach her. But during the war, with employees scattered across the city, security is minimal." "It's still a trap." "Of course it is. Cross is using you to clean house. Those medical division employees you killed, they were potential whistleblowers about Prometheus. You're doing him a favor." Marcus felt sick. "Then I'm playing into his hands." "Unless we change the game," Nix smiled. "What if instead of climbing the corporate ladder one body at a time, we bring the whole structure down?" She showed him the plan. It was audacious, borderline insane. Use the chaos of the war to infiltrate not just Apex, but all the major corporations simultaneously. Release evidence of Project Prometheus and dozens of other illegal experiments. Expose the CEO class augmentations that made them nearly immortal while their employees died by the thousands. "The public already knows corporations rule everything," Marcus said. "What difference will evidence make?" "The public knows, the shareholders don't, not the real ones, the shadow investors who bankroll all of this from their orbital stations. Show them that their investment is unstable, that the CEO class has been lying about casualty rates, about sustainability, about everything, and watch how fast they pull their funding." "And then?" "Then the towers fall. All of them." Marcus studied the plan. It would require precise timing, multiple teams, and someone on the inside of Apex Tower. "I'll do it," he said, "but Harrison dies first, and Cross." "Harrison, maybe. Cross—" Nix pulled up his file. "Look at this." The data was staggering. Cross hadn't just survived Prometheus enhancement, he'd perfected it. His body was more machine than man now, with redundant organs, reinforced skeleton, neural implants that let him process information at superhuman speeds. He's killed 17 people who tried to challenge him during previous wars. The longest anyone lasted was 43 seconds. "Then I'll need 44. Nix laughed, but there was admiration in it. "You're either the bravest man I've met or the stupidest." "Maybe both." He looked at her. "Why do you really want to bring down the corporations?" For the first time, her confident mask slipped. "I was corporate once. Zenith Corp, level 6. I was good at killing. Too good. They wanted me for their enhancement program. I refused, so they took my sister instead." "What happened to her?" "She survived. Became level 9, one of their top executives. But she wasn't my sister anymore. The serum, the augmentations, the constant killing, it carved out everything human. She tried to kill me when I went rogue. Said I was a liability to her portfolio. Did you kill her? No, but I've been planning to kill what made her. She met his eyes. The whole damn system. Chapter 8. The Infiltration. Day 3 of the corporate war. The city was a battlefield. Employees hunted each other through office buildings and parking structures. The news feeds kept a running tally like a sports score. Apex Industries was in third place for total kills, but first in stock value gained, primarily thanks to Marcus's increasingly notorious rampage. He'd killed 12 more employees over 2 days, each one connected to Project Prometheus. His level had jumped to 6, an unprecedented rise that had the corporate world buzzing. The media had given him a name, the Boxer, for his unconventional fighting style that mixed corporate combat training with street boxing. But tonight wasn't about killing, it was about infiltration. Nix's team had identified a weakness in Apex Tower's security. During the war, with most employees deployed throughout the city, the building operated on skeleton staff. More importantly, the CEO and top executives were at the Central Command Center, coordinating their war effort. Marcus entered through the loading dock, using stolen credentials from one of his victims. The lower levels were nearly deserted. He moved quickly, following the route Nix had mapped out. 45 floors to the medical wing. To Harrison. He was on floor 20 when he encountered the first real security, a team of level 5 guards who hadn't been deployed to the war. "Hold," one commanded, scanning Marcus's tag. "Level 6 authorization confirmed, but you're not scheduled for—" Marcus didn't let him finish. The guards were competent, but not war-hardened. They fell quickly, quietly. He dragged their bodies into a supply closet and continued up. Floor 30, a checkpoint that required biometric scanning. Marcus used the severed thumb of a guard, gruesome but effective. Nix had been right. During war, brutality was efficiency. Floor 40. He could feel the building's atmosphere change. The decor became more opulent, the security more sophisticated. Kill switches in the walls that could flood entire floors with nerve gas. Automated turrets that tracked movement. But also fewer human employees. The executive levels operated on the assumption that no one unauthorized could get this far. Floor 45, Medical Division. The lab was a monument to human experimentation. Tanks filled with failed test subjects floated in preservation fluid. Walls of data showed genome modifications, neural rewiring patterns, chemical enhancement formulas, and at the center of it all, Dr. Elizabeth Harrison. She was younger than Marcus had expected, maybe 35, with the kind of sharp beauty that came from genetic modification. She didn't look surprised to see him. "Marcus Chen," she said, not even looking up from her work. "On schedule. Nathaniel said you'd arrive tonight. You were expecting me?" "Expecting. Your sister was quite talkative under the serum's influence. We knew about you, about her plan to fund your boxing career. Rather touching, really. Familial sacrifice." She finally looked at him. "We've been watching you since her death. Your recruitment of the terrorist Nix. Your little resistance plan." Marcus felt the floor drop out from under him. "You know about everything. Did you think Nathaniel Cross became CEO at 30 by being reactive? He's 10 steps ahead of everyone, always." She stood, and Marcus could see the enhancement in her movement, too fluid, too perfect. Your sister's death, your revenge quest, even your alliance with Nix, all of it serves his purpose. What purpose? Evolution. The corporate wars are stagnating. The same companies trading the same victories year after year. Cross wants something more, a complete restructuring, and you're going to help him achieve it. "By killing you?" She laughed. "By trying to." She moved faster than anything human should. Marcus barely got his guard up before she struck, the impact sending him sliding across the polished floor. His ribs cracked despite the armor. "Your sister lasted 8 minutes," Harrison said, advancing. "Let's see if boxing training makes a difference." Marcus rolled aside as her fist shattered the floor where he'd been. He came up swinging, his training with Nyx paying off. He caught her on her weak side, the 0.3-second delay Nyx had identified. His blade found flesh, drawing blood. Harrison smiled. Better, but not enough. The fight was brutal. Harrison's enhancements gave her every advantage: strength, speed, healing. But Marcus had something else: rage. Every blow was for Maya. Every dodge was to survive long enough for revenge. He feinted left, then drove right, using a combination Nyx had drilled into him. Harrison, expecting corporate standard tactics, was caught off guard. The blade found her throat. She dropped, genuinely surprised. "Unexpected," she gasped. "Cross will be pleased." "Why?" Marcus demanded. "Why would he want you dead?" "Because I was going to expose him. Prometheus wasn't just about creating super soldiers. It was about finding compatible hosts." "Hosts for what?" "For consciousness transfer. Cross isn't 30. He's over 100. He takes a new body every decade. Young, enhanced, perfect. Your sister, she was being evaluated." Marcus felt sick. As a host, she was compatible. 1 in 10,000 are. But the process, the suffering, she chose death instead. Harrison coughed blood. "I was going to reveal it all, but Cross knew. He always knows. He used you to eliminate me." She died with a bitter smile. Marcus stood in the lab, Harrison's blood on his hands, her revelation echoing in his mind. He wasn't a rebel. He was a tool, wielded by the very man he wanted to kill. His communicator buzzed, a message from Cross himself. "Well done, 1 more promotion, level 8. You're almost ready. See you soon." Chapter 9. The Revelation. Marcus made it out of Apex Tower as alarms began to wail. Harrison's death had triggered security protocols, but by then he was already gone, vanishing into the war-torn streets. He found Nyx at a secondary safe house, an abandoned restaurant in the neutral zone. She took one look at his face and knew something was wrong. "Harrison's dead," he said flatly. "Then why do you look like you lost?" He told her everything. Harrison's revelation about Cross, about consciousness transfer, about how they'd been manipulated from the start. Nyx listened without interrupting, her expression growing darker with each word. "Consciousness transfer," she said finally. "That explains so much. Why CEOs never seem to age out. Why they're so willing to sacrifice their bodies in combat. They can just get new ones." Maya was going to be his next host. And when she killed herself rather than submit, he needed another plan. Enter you, the grieving brother on a revenge quest. He's been using you to clean house, eliminate threats, test the new generation of fighters. Marcus slammed his fist into the wall, cracking the plaster. "Everything I've done has been part of his plan." Maybe. Or maybe he's not as omniscient as he wants us to think. Nyx pulled up her datapad. "Look at this. While you were at Apex, my teams hit 3 other corporations. We have proof now, not just of Prometheus, but of dozens of illegal programs. Consciousness transfer, genetic harvesting, neural slave linking. It doesn't matter if Cross planned for it. Unless we do something he can't plan for." She looked at him. "You're level 8 now. In 3 more days, when the war ends, you'll have the right to challenge him directly. That's what he wants. Probably. But what if we give him more than he bargained for?" She showed him a new schematic. "The Resistance has been working on something. A broadcast system that can override all corporate communications simultaneously. If you can keep Cross busy, distracted, we can upload everything. Not just to the public, but directly to the orbital investors. And then we find out if even 100-year-old consciousness can adapt to a world without corporations. Marcus studied the plan. It was desperate, probably suicidal, but it was also unexpected. Cross might be planning for Marcus to challenge him, but was he planning for the complete collapse of the corporate system during that challenge? "I'll need to get stronger," Marcus said. "Level 8 isn't enough to face him." Then we hunt. 3 more days of war. How many executives can you kill in 3 days? "All of them," Marcus said grimly. Nix smiled, dangerous and beautiful. "That's the spirit. But first, you need to know something about Cross. Something I've been keeping back." She pulled up a classified file marked with resistance codes. Nathaniel Cross, or the consciousness calling itself that, has a weakness. The transfer process isn't perfect. Each time he moves to a new body, there's a period of adjustment. Neural pathways that don't quite sync. Muscle memory that conflicts. He's been in his current body for 9 years. In 1 more year, he'll need to transfer again. So he's vulnerable right now, more vulnerable than he's been in a decade. His body is beginning to reject him. It's subtle, microtremors, occasional neural misfires. But in combat, against someone who knows what to look for, it could be enough. Maybe, if you can survive long enough to exploit it. She moved closer to him, and for the first time he saw uncertainty in her eyes. "Marcus, what Harrison said about being watched, we need to assume they know about this location too." As if on cue, the windows exploded inward. Corporate strike teams rappelled through, filling the room with smoke and gunfire. Marcus grabbed Nix, pulling her behind the counter as bullets shredded the air where they'd been standing. "Apex Tactical!" someone shouted. "Surrender and accept termination!" Marcus counted muzzle flashes. 8 operatives, levels 6 and 7, full combat gear. In the confined space, with no preparation, it should have been a slaughter. But Marcus had stopped fighting like a boxer. He'd stopped fighting like a corporate. He fought like someone with nothing left to lose. He came over the counter in a surge of violence, using the smoke as cover. The first operative died before he knew Marcus was there. The second managed a scream. Marcus took his weapon, turned it on the others, laying down suppressing fire while Nix flanked them. She moved through the smoke like a ghost, her blade finding gaps in armor with surgical precision. They'd fought together for days now, trained together, and their movements had synchronized. Where Marcus was force, she was finesse. Where she was speed, he was strength. The fight lasted less than 2 minutes. 8 corporate operatives, dead. "We need to move," Nix said, already gathering equipment. "If they found this place—" The wall exploded. Through the debris stepped someone Marcus recognized from the corporate files. Commander Rachel Knox, Level 9, Apex Industries, Special Operations. 1 step below CEO, augmented to near immortal levels. "Mr. Chen," she said, brushing dust from her armor. "Mr. Cross sends his compliments on your performance. However, you're accelerating beyond acceptable parameters. Time to slow down." She moved. Marcus had thought Harrison was fast. Knox was something else entirely. She crossed the room in a blink, her fist catching him in the chest, sending him through what remained of the wall. He hit the street outside, ribs definitely broken now, tasting blood. Knox followed, taking her time. "You know what's funny?" she said. "Cross actually likes you, sees potential. He's even considering you for the next transfer. Imagine that. Marcus Chen's body housing 100-year-old consciousness. Your sister would be so proud." Rage gave Marcus strength. He rose, ignoring the pain, and charged. Knox sidestepped easily, her hand catching his throat. Pathetic. Your sister fought harder than... Nix's blade erupted through Knox's chest from behind. The Level 9 executive looked down in shock. Impossible. I didn't even sense... Corporate training makes you predictable, Nix said, twisting the blade. I learned to fight in places where there were no rules. Knox dropped, her stocks automatically transferring. Marcus's portfolio exploded. 10 million shares, enough wealth to buy a small corporation. More importantly, his level jumped again. Level 9, one step below CEO. We need to run, Nix said, pulling him up. Now. They fled through the war-torn streets, sirens wailing behind them. The entire corporate world would know within minutes. A Level 2 had climbed to Level 9 in 3 days, killed a top executive. It was unprecedented, which meant Cross would come personally. Chapter 10. The war escalates. The remaining 3 days of the corporate war became legend. Marcus, now tagged as Level 9, was simultaneously the most hunted and most feared employee in New Angeles. Every corporation wanted him dead. Apex wanted him returned. The Resistance wanted him to succeed. He and Nix turned from hunted to hunters. Day 4. They ambushed a convoy of Zenith Corp executives trying to flee the city. 15 Level 7s and 8s, dead within minutes. Marcus's fighting had evolved beyond training into something instinctual, lethal. Each kill made him stronger, not just in stocks but in understanding. He could read opponents' augmentations, spot their dependencies, exploit their overconfidence. Day 5. Titan Holdings sent their entire executive board after him, 5 Level 9s working in concert. It should have been overwhelming. But Nix had called in the resistance. For the first time, freelancers and corporate employees fought together, united in their hatred of the system. The battle destroyed 6 city blocks. When the smoke cleared, Marcus stood among the bodies of 5 more Level 9s. His stock portfolio had become absurd, 50 million shares, diversified across every major corporation. He effectively owned percentages of the companies trying to kill him. Day 6. The penultimate day brought an unexpected message. Mr. Chen, Cross's voice came through every speaker in the city simultaneously. You've exceeded all projections. I'm impressed. So impressed that I'm offering you something unprecedented. Join me. Not as an employee, but as a successor. The next body I inhabit could be yours, immortality, power beyond imagination. Or continue this futile resistance and watch everyone you care about die. You have 1 hour to decide. Marcus looked at Nix, who was coordinating with resistance cells across the city. They'd been together constantly for days now, fighting, planning, surviving. Somewhere between the violence and desperation, something had grown between them. Not love exactly, but recognition. They were the same kind of broken, the same kind of angry. He's lying, she said immediately. Cross doesn't share power. I know, but he's also desperate. We're actually threatening him. Or he wants us to think that. She pulled up tactical displays. Look. Every corporation is pulling back, consolidating. They're scared. A Level 2 climbing to Level 9 in 6 days, it breaks their entire system, shows that their hierarchy is artificial, fragile. Marcus's hour came and went without response. He gave his answer by attacking Apex's secondary headquarters, where Cross's lieutenants were coordinating their war effort. The building fell in 3 hours. That night, as they sheltered in a new safe house, Nix showed him the final plan. Tomorrow, the war ends with the closing ceremony. Every CEO, every surviving executive will be there. It's tradition, showing strength, tallying victories, absorbing defeated corporations. Cross will be there. On his platform, above everyone, like a god. She met his eyes. You'll have the right to challenge him. Level 9 versus CEO. It's legal, even expected after your rise. And while I'm fighting him, we broadcast everything, every dirty secret, every hidden experiment, every murdered employee. The orbital investors will see it all in real time. I won't survive the fight. Probably not. She touched his face, the first gentle contact they'd had. But Maya's death will mean something, the system will fall. And after, we build something better, without gods in towers deciding who lives and dies. Marcus pulled her close, and for a moment, in the middle of a corporate war zone, they found peace. Part 2, The Challenge. Chapter 11, The Ceremony. The closing ceremony was held in the same arena where the war had begun. But now, instead of thousands of employees, only hundreds remained. The rest were dead, absorbed, or fled. Marcus stood with the Apex survivors, wearing armor taken from his victims, weapons chosen from the best of his kills. His level 9 tag blazed above his head, impossible to ignore. Around him, other employees kept their distance, fear and awe radiating from them in equal measure. The CEOs took their platforms. 5 had entered the war, 3 remained. Cross of Apex, Yamamoto of Zenith, and Morgan of Quantum Dynamics. Titan Holdings and the smaller corporations had been absorbed, their assets divided among the victors. Cross looked exactly as he had 7 days ago, untouched, unmarked, as if the war had been a minor inconvenience. But Marcus, trained now to spot tells, could see the signs Nix had mentioned. The micro tremor in his left hand, the slight delay when he turned his head. His body was failing him, rejecting the ancient consciousness within. "Ladies and gentlemen," Cross announced, his voice carrying across the arena. "This has been a historic corporate war. Records broken, hierarchies shattered, evolution achieved." The crowd murmured. Everyone knew he was talking about Marcus. "As is tradition," Cross continued, "we now open the floor to formal challenges. Any employee may challenge any other for their position, their assets, their life." Marcus stepped forward. "I challenge Nathaniel Cross, CEO of Apex Industries." Silence. Then chaos. No one below CEO had ever challenged a CEO at a closing ceremony. It was legal but unthinkable. Cross smiled. "Marcus Chen. Level 9, formerly Level 2. The boxer, they call you. The brother of Maya Chen, deceased." He said Maya's name deliberately, watching Marcus's reaction. "I accept your challenge." He descended from his platform, moving with inhuman grace despite his body's rebellion. The crowd parted, forming a circle. The other CEOs watched with interest. Whoever won would be weakened, vulnerable to their own ambitions. "Standard rules?" Cross asked, almost conversationally. "Or shall we make this interesting?" "No rules," Marcus said. "No restrictions. Everything." "Everything," Cross agreed. How delightfully primitive. Chapter 12, The God King. Cross moved first. Marcus had thought he'd seen speed. Harrison had been fast. Knox had been faster. Cross was something beyond human comprehension. He didn't seem to move through space so much as exist in multiple places simultaneously. The first blow caught Marcus in the solar plexus, folding him in half. The second shattered his helmet. The third would have killed him if not for the desperate dodge Nix had drilled into him 1,000 times. "Disappointing," Cross said, not even breathing hard. "I expected more from someone who killed Knox." Marcus spat blood, circling. He needed to survive long enough for the resistance to begin their broadcast. Every second mattered. He attacked, using every technique he'd learned. Boxing combinations flowed into corporate combat strikes, flowed into the dirty tricks of the underground. Cross deflected them all, almost lazily. You fight like 3 different people, Cross observed, catching Marcus's fist. The boxer, the corporate drone, and the terrorist. But you haven't become something new, you're still fragments. He twisted, and Marcus's arms snapped. The pain was extraordinary, but Marcus had trained for pain. He rolled with the break, using his good arm to pull a concealed blade, one of Nyx's gifts, monomolecular edge, capable of cutting through anything. Cross caught the blade between 2 fingers. Predictable. But Marcus had counted on that. His broken arm, seemingly useless, had palmed a micro-explosive. He triggered it point blank. The explosion sent them both flying. Marcus hit hard, his armor cracked, ribs definitely rebroken. But Cross stood up, half his face burned away, revealing the augmentations beneath, not just implants, but complete reconstruction. His skin was armor, his bones were metal, his brain was partially artificial. Better, Cross said, his ruined face already beginning to heal. You made me feel something. Pain. It's been decades since I felt pain. He moved again, faster now, taking the fight seriously. Marcus could barely track him, each defense coming milliseconds too late. A knee to the ribs, an elbow to the temple. Fingers that struck like spears, penetrating armor. Marcus was dying by degrees, but he kept fighting, kept standing. The crowd had gone silent, watching a man face a god and refuse to kneel. Why? Cross asked, genuinely curious. You know you can't win. Your sister knew she couldn't win. Why do you Chen's siblings insist on fighting the inevitable? Because, Marcus gasped through broken teeth, someone has to. He lunged, not at Cross, but at the ceremonial stage. His weight and momentum carried him into the broadcast equipment, triggering the hidden program Nyx's people had installed. Suddenly, every screen in the arena, every screen in the city lit up with data. Project Prometheus, consciousness transfer, the real casualty rates, the human experimentation, the murders disguised as corporate efficiency, everything. Cross turned to look, and in that moment of distraction, Marcus saw it, the neural misfire Nyx had described. A full second where Cross's body didn't respond to his commands. Marcus struck with everything he had left. The blow connected with Cross's temple, augmented by brass knuckles taken from a level 8 enforcer. Against anyone else, it would have been fatal. Against Cross, it staggered him. Impossible, Cross said, actually surprised. My sister's words, Marcus replied, and hit him again. Chapter 13, The Fall. The arena erupted into chaos. The broadcast continued, showing Cross's true age, his body-swapping history, the CEOs he'd murdered and replaced. The crowd turned on itself, employees realizing they'd been cattle, executives seeing opportunity in the chaos. Cross and Marcus fought in the eye of the storm. Cross was still faster, stronger, more augmented. But Marcus had found his rhythm, the place where boxer and corporate and terrorist became something new. He fought without thought, without plan, purely on instinct and rage. Cross's left hand tremored. Marcus exploited it. Cross's neural implant misfired. Marcus was already moving. They destroyed the stage, shattered the ceremonial platform, turned the arena floor into a crater. And still they fought. You're dying, Cross observed, almost sad. Your body is failing. Minutes at most. It was true. Marcus could feel it, organs shutting down, blood loss reaching critical. But he could also see the screens, see the data spreading, see corporate employees throwing down their weapons, refusing to fight. So are you, Marcus said. Cross laughed. This body might die, but I'll just take another. Yours, perhaps. You're compatible, you know. 1 in 10,000, like your sister. She chose death over you. She chose wrong. They clashed again, and this time Marcus didn't try to win. He just tried to hold on, to keep Cross focused on him. Every second meant more data transmitted, more truth revealed. His communicator crackled. Nix's voice. "It's done. Everything's uploaded. The investors are pulling out. Stock market's crashing. Marcus, you did it." Cross heard it too, his face contorted with rage. "You've destroyed everything, centuries of order." "Good," Marcus said. Cross's final attack was beyond human. He moved faster than sight, struck harder than physics should allow. Marcus's armor shattered, his bones broke. He fell, unable to rise. Cross stood over him, preparing the killing blow. "Any last words?" Marcus smiled through blood. "Look behind you." Cross turned. Nix stood there, along with dozens of others, not corporate employees but free fighters, resistance members, survivors of the system Cross had built. "You can kill him," she said, "but you'll have to kill all of us, and the hundreds more outside, and the thousands watching the broadcasts. You're not a god anymore, Cross. You're just an old man in a dying body." Cross looked around. The other CEOs had fled. The corporate structure was collapsing. Everything he'd built over centuries was ending. "This isn't over," he said. "Yes," Marcus managed, somehow finding the strength to stand. "It is." He pulled Cross close, and Cross, surprised by the embrace, didn't resist for a crucial moment. Marcus had one weapon left, a neural disruptor, experimental tech from the resistance. It would kill them both, fry every augmentation, every implant. A normal human might survive it. Neither of them were normal. "For Maya," Marcus whispered, and triggered the device. Chapter 14. The New World. Marcus woke up, which was surprising. He was in a medical facility, but not a corporate one. The walls were painted warm colors. There were windows showing actual sunlight, not the filtered stuff from the towers. Nix was beside his bed, asleep in a chair. She looked different without her combat gear, younger, more vulnerable. She stirred when he moved, eyes snapping open with a fighter's alertness. Then she saw he was awake and her face transformed with relief. "You absolute idiot," she said, and kissed him. "When they broke apart," she explained, "the neural disruptor had fried Cross's augmentations, all of them. Without them, his ancient consciousness had nothing to anchor to. He died, truly died, within seconds. Marcus had survived because he had fewer augmentations, barely survived. 3 weeks in a coma, multiple surgeries, organs rebuilt from scratch. What about the corporations? Gone. The investors pulled everything when they saw the broadcasts. Without funding, the towers fell, metaphorically. The buildings are being converted into housing. The employees are free. Just like that? No, not just like that. There's chaos, fighting, different factions trying to seize power, but also hope. People are organizing, building something new, democratic councils, worker cooperatives. It's messy, but it's human. Marcus tried to sit up, winced. And us? We're war criminals to some, heroes to others. Mostly we're retired, she smiled. Unless you want to help build the new world. I want to rest first. For Maya. For Maya, Nix agreed. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the sun set over a city without towers, without CEOs, without corporate wars. It wasn't perfect. It might never be perfect. But it was free. Epilogue. 6 months later. The memorial was simple, a wall in what had been the corporate war arena, now converted into a public park. Every name of every employee who had died in corporate service, millions of names stretching up 30 feet. Marcus found Maya's name, ran his fingers over the etched letters. I brought flowers, Nix said, appearing beside him. She laid white roses at the wall's base, among thousands of other offerings. She would have liked you, Marcus said. I did like her, the little I knew her. She was brave. She was scared. She told me in that last journal entry, but she did it anyway. That's what bravery is. They stood together, two warriors in a world that no longer needed warriors, or rather, needed a different kind of warrior. Marcus had been elected to the New Angeles Council, representing the former corporate employees. Nix ran training centers, teaching self-defense to anyone who wanted to learn, ensuring people would never be helpless again. Cross was wrong about one thing, Marcus said suddenly. What? He said I was fragments, boxer, corporate, terrorist, but I was never those things. I was always just Maya's brother, trying to save her and failing. You didn't fail. You gave her death meaning. Did I? Or did I just add more bodies to the pile? Nix took his hand. You gave everyone a chance to be more than a stock portfolio. That's what she would have wanted. A child ran past them, laughing, chasing a friend through the park. No biotags, no levels, no hierarchy. Just children playing in a place where thousands had died. Come on, Nix said. The council meeting starts soon. Time to argue about water rights and education funding and all the boring things free people argue about. Marcus took one last look at Maya's name, then followed Nix into the new world. It wasn't the world Maya had died for. That had been a world where her sacrifice would fund his boxing career, but maybe it was the world she'd deserved. Behind them, the wall stood silent, a reminder of the price of freedom. And somewhere, in whatever came after death, Maya Chen was finally at peace.